Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Kerbal Space Program. Let us, excuse me, let us begin right away. First of all, got a couple visual mods packed into this thing right here. Visual mods and I think planetary base systems. Yeah, just a couple things. Screenshot the mod list and put it in the Discord maybe, if anybody would like that. Resume saved. There's nothing there, actually. Start new. Definitely a career mode for the streaming. I like I don't know what flag I like. I like a hexagon one. That's nice. Rings are nice. Blorbs, that's kind of nice too. Straight up be NASA. I like bullseye. I'm going with hexagon. The stream space program difficulty options, let's see. I like crew respawn. Uh Let's see. Reentry, resource abundance, starting funds, reputation, science rewards. Let's go all negative 1,000 reputation at start now. Uh, no stock vessels. I hate those. I do not like Kerbal inventory persistence. Building impact damage multiplier all the way up. I'm not even messing with the Comnet because I don't know. I don't know how any of that stuff works. I like Kerbal G-force limits. That's nice. Yeah, I think that's about it. All right. So for this stream today, we're definitely at least getting to the mud, because that isn't too terribly hard. Getting at least to the mud, starting up some setting up for I forgot how bad the thing looks at the beginning. Getting to the mud at least and starting up for some huge projects later once we get all the funding and everything for it. Let's take some contracts first, gather scientific data, and launch the first vessel. Just let's quickly get that right out of the way by putting parachute. I forgot where everything is. I haven't played in so long. I also forgot it's not click and drag. There we go. That's how this thing works. I've forgotten all of the controls. There we go. That's the symmetry mode. And time to just simply gather some science. X is not symmetry, is it? Yes, X is the symmetry one. And then Shift X is backwards. So desymmetrifying it. I'm not saving this at all. I'm just gonna shove Jeb in there, and then we'll get right out of here. Do a couple basic chores before we start actually doing the real stuff. Observe mystery goo. We don't need three of them. Crew report. EVA. Take data. EVA report, and then board again. Now, oh yeah, I also have free IBA. So inside the vehicle I can walk around and do whatever. Not in this vehicle because it's so small. Uh Now you see taking the data from the command pod that allows me to do another crew report because there's data stored inside the pod and it's not stored as a crew report. It's just stored as scientific data. So let's launch off. Observe the goo. I forgot about staging and the parachute went at the same time. We have launched something off the ground. Yet another crew report. We cannot EVA because uh forgot about I mean we didn't upgrade the astronaut complex. I think we just completed yep. I think we just completed both of our contracts. Time warp. Man, I've not played this game in so long. I've also got parallax, so there's a bunch of like trees and the parallax mod, so there's a bunch of trees and rocks and stuff scattered around. That is quite nice. We survived launching our first vessel and gathered some nice science. Give me a second. Perfect. Got 30 science now. And we've completed both our contracts, and so we've more than doubled the cash we have. Perfect. Straight to R&D. Do I want basic rocketry or do I definitely want more science. Or do I? Oh, I can grab both of them. Never mind. I can grab one of these. More rocketry or more science, of course. I can't grab anything else. Do a couple more chores before getting into bigger things. Gonna want to go higher this time. Um, don't need another one of those. I'm gonna want two of each of these so that I can gather from the air and from the. I might even also want three of them. Let's give Valentina a turn for the level up. Our next contract will be escaping the atmosphere, which I cannot do quite yet. I forgot about staging again. Hopefully this leaves the launch pad area so I can get more juicy science. It's not leaving the launch pad area. There's not a chance. Yeah, there's no way. Okay, this time I'm not gonna forget about staging. I'm gonna put things in multiple stages. We got 20 science, so definitely gonna go for this so that we can potentially breach the atmosphere. Okay, let's hold on. I don't think I can do any of these. No, I can't really do any of those yet. But I can breach the atmosphere. And this time I'm not going to forget about staging. I think I can breach the atmosphere with just this. That should be enough. Put some science equipment on that. 2 of each so that we can carry from the upper atmosphere. This will be the upper atmosphere. 2 of this as well. Hold on, give me a second. How do I change the symmetry mode again? Was it R? It was R. So now we have 1 science experiment each for upper atmosphere and outside of atmosphere. Excuse me. And then also crew report for one of those 2 things because we can't EVA up there. Still not saving that. These are just some chores. I should have started us with some science so that we didn't have to do all the chores first. Better for streaming. Oh, I forgot about wings. Hold on. If I don't have wings, I will absolutely fly out of control. Probably 4 of them. Now, you see here. I don't know how this works. I forgot. Uh, Essentially, give me a second to think. So if you have this center of aerodynamics like above the center of mass, the rocket will spin out of control and it will attempt to flip around and put the center of aerodynamics below the center of mass. Why that is? I've forgotten. I've forgotten so much of rocket science. I really need to learn that so I can be interesting on stream instead of not interesting. You turn on SAS. Valentina will be the one breaching the atmosphere today. Oh, this will more than breach the atmosphere. I'm getting crew report from upper atmosphere because that's probably the one that it's harder to get. Oh no. Did our fins just burn off? I think they did. Oh, that's not good. I think the thermometers burned off too. Well, definitely we have escaped the atmosphere. 3 out of our 4 fins burned off, and our thermometers are completely gone. But we are, in fact, in space. We have achieved space, but we have not achieved orbit. There's a city down there. That's enough space for today. Parachute is armed, and we are heading rapidly towards the mountains. But not that we're heading this rapidly. You can see the planet getting closer at an extreme pace. Valentina is going to pass out. But that's okay because the parachutes are already armed. Okay, never mind. Valentina did not pass out. But we do not have temperature readings of either the upper atmosphere or space. So I will need to fix that eventually. But I need to be going slower so that they don't burn off. You see, whenever a spaceship is ramming through the atmosphere at a rapid pace, the air literally cannot get out of the way fast enough. So it ends up forming a plasma. And that's why it looks like rocket ships are burning whenever they fall into the atmosphere or if they're going too fast out of it. Which mine was in fact going too fast because it wasn't pushing enough weight. Okay. EVA report this. Take this data. I'll take this data too. I'll take this data. I'll grab and I'll get back in. And I will do another crew report and do another barometer from the mountains. That means we probably have a lot more science now. Yep, 87 science and 60 gained. Shame our thermometers burned off. 87 science is enough to probably unlock two. 45 plus 45 is what? 90? Never mind. But I definitely want this, because it's more science. And also a probe, so we can probably launch our first thing into orbit with just a little bit more science, which I can get like in 2 seconds. Give me a second. I'm just gonna grab a couple a bit more science so that I can launch something into orbit fully. Give me a second. Okay, perfect. This will certainly be enough. Okay, before before I build my first orbital vessel, I'm gonna take the contract, of course. Orbit Kerbin. Taurus. I don't have enough space for Taurus right now. I want this. I'm gonna want a heat shield this time. And this is the payload that we are bringing to orbit. What should be the naming convention for these streams? Or for the first orbital vessels? What should we call them? I'm not great at names. Uh, well, let's see. I'm definitely known for Noita. Maybe it should be something Noita related. Let me, I'm gonna break into my chips and block because I'm hungry. Also, the Onion will probably break in the, I mean, the onion will probably help my congestion a little bit. Make me better at talking. Let's see. Hemis. Hemis won. Yo, what's up, Straight Jacket? No, that's okay. I've just been doing some, like, chores, gathering some basic science. You haven't missed much, honestly. This is going to be my first orbital vessel. I've just, like I said, I've just been gathering some basic science, and unlocking some unlocking some rocket components so that I can build up, excuse me, build up to my first orbital vessel. Gathering some funds too by completing some very basic contracts. Allow me to introduce you to our team of astronauts here. We've got Jebediah Kerman, the pilot. We've got Bill Kerman, the engineer, Bob Kerman, the scientist, and Valentina Kerman, the other pilot. Orbital vessel like a satellite, yes, but this one will definitely be crewed. It's gonna break into. It's gonna break out of the atmosphere, enter orbit of Kerbin, and then it will come back down with a bunch of new scientific information and data. Actually, I want something out. One more thing in my payload. I want to put this little laboratory. Well, you see, every Kerbal actually has the surname Kerman. If we go to the astronaut complex to hire more people, they also all have the same surname. I guess all Kerbals are related. All right, gonna put on a thermometer, 2 thermometers actually, because the other one burned up. And then this is another planet. Earth rocket science would function on any planet, but this planet is called Kerbal. Kerbal spelled like no, Kerbin. This is the name of the planet right here. So it is, excuse me. It is an Earth-like planet that's about 1/10 of the size of Earth, which makes for easier rockets. Uh, Easier breach of atmosphere, easier escape, stuff like that. And also, these rocket engines are ridiculously consistent and pretty powerful compared to Earth rocket engines. So it makes it even easier because you don't have to pay attention to, like, you know, whether your rocket will fail mid-flight. I mean, you do have to pay attention to that, but it won't be the engine's fault. It'll be your own engineering fault. So, rocket science basically is all about you push something out out of the end of your rocket, and it pushes the rocket forward. Because of Newton's third law of motion, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you put this rocket engine on here, it takes all of the mass that is stored inside this engine, and gives it a bunch of velocity in this direction. And the velocity that it gives it in this direction, because it's pushing it outward, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so it pushes this back up as well. And then you get forward motion. There are several types of rocket engines. There's this engine right here, which is a solid fuel engine. It's very it's very powerful, but you can't turn it slightly down. It's either on or off, and you cannot turn it off once it's already started. Because basically what you're doing is you started a fire inside of the engine and it's pushing stuff out. And there's not really a good way to stop it. Then there's liquid fuel engines that need these other fuel tanks. And these are less powerful, but like you can throttle them so that they're only at half power or whatever. You can turn them off if you feel like it. And they're basically much better for fine control. And then certain engines are more efficient than others. So this one is a decently efficient. I'll explain that when I get to it, actually. Let's see. Time to build an orbital rocket. Okay, so this here is the payload. This is the thing that I want to bring into space, and I'll have Jeb inside of it. This is a command pod that seats one person. The most optimal engine for an orbital rocket, I'm getting to that. And I'm glad you asked that. The most optimal engine, that is a good question. So, I'm going to build the rocket from the top down. So that means I'm going to build the section that's going to be in orbit first, and then I'm going to build the section that's going to get it to orbit last. So first thing we want to do is we want to design an orbital maneuvering section. That means this part will already be in orbit. This part is the part that will already be in orbit, and so it doesn't need to like pay attention to whether it's going up faster than gravity can pull it down. So I'm going to use this engine, which is very, very low power, but very efficient. So if I set the delta V mode to vacuum, you can see right here, this number is huge. 3,237 meters per second. That number right there is the total amount of velocity that this ship would gain floating in a vacuum, starting at 0 meters per second, if this engine was just fired at full power till it stopped, till it ran out of fuel, then the ship would be going at 3,237 meters per second. That is good for maneuvering, changing your orbit. You'll get a better feel for this once I've launched it as well. Second bit of engine we're building here, right now I can only build rockets straight down, so it will be like a stick. Second, what I'm going to build, since I can only build them straight down, I'm actually going to build the different kind of rocket that will get it into orbit. This is a little bit more powerful, but as you can see, it will gain us less velocity over time if we were to fire it straight away. So it uses the fuel faster, but more powerfully. And this rocket, this solid fuel rocket, is very powerful and uses fuel very fast. And like I said, you can't really use it to, you can't really stop it. And this will push us out of the atmosphere. Hopefully. So now, with this full rocket, this bit will push us out of the atmosphere, and this bit, once we're out of the atmosphere, will push us the rest of the way into orbit, which I will demonstrate in a couple of seconds. But of course, if I tried to launch this rocket now, it would all flip and spin out of control. Because as you can see, well, you can't see, because it's, I don't know. Oh yes, the aerodynamic center of the rocket is way above the center of mass. and this always tries to be at the bottom of the rocket. So we're gonna need to put down fins that put this on the bottom of the rocket. Yeah, it absolutely does look like one of those bottle rockets. That's because that's basically what it is, honestly. We're not working with very high tech here. We've got pushing materials out, sending the rocket up. That's all we've got. No high tech here. I think, but I'm not sure that this is enough. And of course, it costs 9,000 bucks to build, which is a ridiculously low price for rockets, by the way. I think Kerbal dollars are a lot worth a lot more than real life dollars. But here's the Hemis one. The Hemis one. Save it, launch it. Let us see all of that theory I just spouted in action. And probably fail spectacularly. Jebediah Kerman, are you ready for launch? Let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're off. The solid fuel rocket is burning its fuel at a very rapid rate, creating a large plume of flame. I cannot turn this off. Now, in order to get an orbit, I'm going to lean the rocket a little bit sideways. I can't actually do that very well. We're not blown up yet, so that's good. I don't think this rocket is going to lift us very high. 300 meters per second left, 300 meters per second left. Because you see, in order to orbit, we need to be going sideways at a very fast pace, and we also need to be above the atmosphere. Here we are. Rocket staged. Oh no. This is not working. But this rocket can also this engine can also turn slightly. You can see it's wiggling as I control it. It can help us turn. That's very nice. I don't know where our apoapsis is, the highest point of our orbit. We're not in space yet. We're actually not even close to space, honestly. We're in the upper atmosphere, which is great. Okay, I'm going to stop firing the engine for now, because right now I think our orbit will carry us out of atmosphere. Oh yeah, that's going to carry us way out the atmosphere. How are we landing this thing? With a parachute. A parachute, hopes, and dreams. The atmosphere of this planet ends at 70 kilometers up. Here we are at 55 kilometers, and we're definitely going to 70. So as you can see, if we keep going on the path we are right now, we're going to climb up to here, and then we're going to drop down and splash in the ocean. Of course, the planet is rotating, so we'll probably splash around here, I think. And we are out of the atmosphere. We are now in space. Very good. I forgot to do a temperature report of the upper atmosphere. Oops, silly me. We'll just do a temperature report of space. And we'll do material study as well. The microgravity has greatly affected the growth of crystalline structures. Loose objects are also flying around the bay in a very messy but fascinating way. The ocean is not where our rocket wants to be, yes. Unless we're trying to land, then the ocean is a nice soft spot for landing. Once we get up here, this is the direction we're going, by the way. This little yellow circle, that is the direction we are moving in. So now that we're up in space, I'm going to fire the engine directly sideways. As you can see, this will keep pushing our orbit outward, so that we're going further and further. we're going to get further and further, and eventually we're going to push this orbit so far that it just makes a circle instead. And that is how you get an orbit. I do not have enough fuel. We're out of fuel. We are not, in fact, in orbit. No, because I have a parachute to slow us down. It might destroy some of the research, maybe. Here we are, not in orbit. But you know what? That's okay. Look how close we got. He is supposed to wait until he hits the atmosphere and does not burn in a ball of fire. SAS, by the way, if if you do not make any attempt to stabilize your rocket, it will continue to spin like that. However, due to Newton's third law of motion, once again, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So, stability assist, which makes your rocket not spin, reaction wheels running. What that means is that once you if you want to stop spinning, you have to transfer the motion of your spin into another object. So, these reaction wheels, they'll spin in the opposite direction that your rocket is supposed to be spinning. And because of that, your rocket will stop spinning. It's more complicated than that, and I'll explain it later once I get bigger reaction wheels. Jeb cannot, unfortunately, leave the pod because he does not have a spacesuit. But now let's speed up time a little bit. And now we were back in atmosphere. We want to point the opposite direction that we're going so that this heat shield can take all the brunt of the heat from the atmosphere. Let's speed up time again. Turn off SAS so that it can stabilize itself using the lift of the heat shield. No, no, no. That thing almost burned to death. That bar, we do not want it to reach the top. Because that will destroy the experiments. The parachute is currently armed. Hemi's one did not reach orbit, but I still consider it a success. Because it got pretty far. I forgot to do the temperature report of the upper atmosphere again. But that's good enough. Flying over water. There goes the parachute. We're definitely going to survive this landing, by the way. I think this parachute... Oh, excuse me. This parachute is more than capable of saving the whole brunt of the ship. Mm-hmm. We definitely did get some cool research. There's another piece of the ship just down there. It is now splashed down in the water. We are landing on the evening side of the planet. Look at this beautiful sunset. What's that? Is that a star or is that a planet? I don't know. I don't think I actually have the mod for that. We are landing in the middle of probably the largest ocean on Kerbin at the sunset side of the planet. Let's speed up time again. This is a little bit. Yeah, we're going only at 6 meters per second. That's definitely enough to survive, especially landing in the water, which will soften the blow. Uh-huh. Recovered the vessel. And we have got plenty of science. We have not, in fact, gone into orbit, but the next rocket will solve that for sure. What I want to do is I want to get stability because it has radial decouplers. Can't afford anything else from the science menu. But now I have one more part that I can use to make this rocket much better. Hummies 2, it absolutely will. Oh, speaking of, hold on, give me a second. I wonder if I can, hold on. Give me just 1 second. Can I, please let me. Ah, it doesn't let me put the thumbs up emoji. It just makes it a square. That's so sad. Okay, so instead of this thing, we're gonna want to do, I'm gonna want to put the smaller and more efficient engine. Probably that's true. Yeah, that's enough to orbit around. That's enough to do some orbital maneuvering. Which color do we like? I think definitely the gray. So now, how do I copy things again? There we go. This one is here, right? Yeah. 1,000 meters per second, that's good. So now, of course, the only way to get into orbit is more power. Oops. Since the first rocket didn't work, what do? Put more power on it. There we go. Um, let's see. Don't need barometer anymore. Probably ought to do this in the upper atmosphere and also flying. Okay, Hummies 2. Now you see, I wish I could do that, but unfortunately, I can only choose from these colors. I can do at least the black part though. I can't make this one black. And some of these parts you can't color at all. I can do purple. I can do black, white, and orange. That's the best I can do. Which, it's at least opposite colors to purple. So I guess close enough, kind of. Anyway, so the problem with adding more power to the rocket is that the more power you add, the more engines you add, the more fuel you need. And the more fuel you add, the more the more fuel you add, the more engines you need to carry it. And then the more fuel you need for those. So you really have to pay attention uh to that's why staging is a thing. That's why you drop off extra bits of the rocket that have been expended because it's just dead weight. Dead weight that requires more fuel. That's why you can't just that's why you can't just put one engine in a what ton of fuel tanks. It doesn't work like that because then you need more engines to carry all that. Oops. All right. This will definitely reach orbit. This is the run, guys. Oh, our launch pad isn't upgraded enough. Save that. We have the money. Can definitely upgrade the launch pad. How do I upgrade things again? 50? Yeah. Any more? No. They have a whole Hemi subreddit? That's amazing. Time to launch the Hemis too. Look at it in all its majesty. I'll pin this window here, and I'll pin this window here. And off it goes. Hold on, I forgot staging. There we go. Off it goes. It's looking a little bit wobbly this time. We lean slightly because I know that I have enough power to breach the atmosphere, and leaning will turn some of that power into distance for the orbit, which is very good. Maneuver says our apoapsis is at 40 kilometers, which isn't quite there. Here's the readouts down here, by the way. We want that at least 70 kilometers up. There we go, 71. Definitely have enough to make orbit this time. And I did our upper atmosphere science experiments. That's great. Speed up time a little. Makes our rocket slightly more wobbly. Hemis is, in fact, our beloved. Wait until we get near the peak of that orbit and then start burning. We've got it this time. I'm gonna burn slightly upward to keep our the peak of our orbit slightly above us, slightly ahead of us, so that we don't accidentally fall back into the atmosphere. Which, as you might be able to guess, would suck. Here we go. Yeah, check that out. That's definitely getting there. And we have a whole other engine to spare. Hold on. I'm gonna wait once again until we're almost there. And we are now in orbit. Our periapsis, the lowest point of our orbit. I did the temp checks and I did the science bay thing. Everything is great. Crew report. Solid 5 bits of science. Close doors. Just because I can. Looks prettier. And we are, in fact, orbiting. Welcome to space. There's the mun. That's the goal for today's stream. We're gonna go all the way to the mun. By the way, Kerbin has 2 moons, Minmus and the mun. I wish he could get out right here. That would be quite nice. But we can at least do this. Check that out. There's Kerbin, very much below us. There's the sun. Check that out. Doesn't that look pretty? That's very nice. Can even unbuckle. I cannot go EVA. Now, the question you might wonder is if we are in orbit, we will never fall back down to the ground. It is. It is. It is. Space is amazing. I love this game, and I love space in real life too. Being in orbit is on my bucket list for sure. You might be wondering, if we're orbiting and we'll never fall down, well, how do we get back to the Space Center? The answer to that question, as you can see, we are traveling this direction along the screen towards my mouse. So, we go slower. Bam. We just do the same thing we did to get up here, but backwards. And as you can see, the camera changed. That's because my orbit line went below. Well, we're gonna definitely fall short of the center. You know what? Since we're gonna fall short anyway, I'm gonna keep burning. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna keep burning because all of the fuel that we didn't use, I don't need this heat shield. All the fuel that we didn't use gets translated back into cold, hard cash. Not all of it because we'll be falling so far away from the center. The closer to the space center you are, the more of your recovered rocket turns back into cash. So I'm gonna hope whatever remains of this rocket includes all of the science and also all of us. Gonna arm this parachute. Good question. I think it's less along the lines of selling it and more along the lines of lore-wise reusing it for a different rocket. In real life, you would never have leftover rocket fuel because that means you've definitely failed somewhere in your design. And I have kind of failed in this design. I just kind of made it quick and dirty to get into orbit. Oh, we actually won't be falling short of the Space Center. I'm at 4 times time warp right now. Oh. I hope that doesn't... Oh, that's bad. What was that? Well. As you can see, there has been a grievous error. That kind of sucks. At least we didn't lose Jeb. Oh, speaking of losing Jeb, you know what I'm gonna do? Just for more, just for more, just for more, uh, cool factor, I guess. I'm gonna turn off crew respawning so that if Jeb dies, he's gone forever. Any crew die, they're gone, memorialized in the ashes of the spaceship or whatever. Um, well, unfortunately, that means all of our science is gone except the 5 we got from the crew report. You see, whenever a rocket is coming back into the atmosphere, or even going up out of the atmosphere at a very rapid pace, the air can't get out of the way fast enough. So it compresses, and when it compresses, it heats up a lot and forms a plasma. That is the orange streak that you can see getting out of the way of rockets. It's the plasma from the air being unable to get out of the way. I've exhausted my guacamole supply. Time for Hummies 3. Yes. But hold on, let me speed this up real quick. There's some debris that's over there. It fell like right next to the Space Center. Splash down. Give me a second. I need to EVA report this for just a tad more science. All right, what should be the goal of Hummies 3? Probably doing the same thing we just did, except not exploding. That means, oh, we have 60 science actually. We can afford one of these. Yeah, not explode. You want me to, oh, know what I could do? I could take, I could take, tourists. Tourists are absolute spenders. They give us so much money to go on tour. Let's see. Or I could take airplanes. It's either tourists or it's airplanes. Are we ready for tourism? Do you think? Hmm, good question. Before we do any of that, I'm gonna upgrade this. I'm even gonna upgrade this. Definitely a lot of our cash is gone, but now we can see a lot more useful information and we can also exit the spaceship mid-flight so that we can gather more science from orbit. Yeah, I'm checking tourism. See if I can also put this together a bit better. Yeah, now that also unlocked auto strut. So now our rockets won't be wobbly anymore. Between red, green, blue, and purple? Absolutely purple. Purple is just my favorite color in general. How about you? Let me go take a chorus contract. Not only do these tourists want to not only do these tourists want to spend a bunch of money, they also want to specifically pass out. I'm gonna build a quick and dirty ship to pass these guys out. Let's put a robot on there instead, just in case this goes horribly wrong. I don't want any of our astronauts to die. Here's for the tourists. There you go. Put some extra batteries on that. Uh-huh. I gotta get myself a parachute. Shoot, where's all that at? And let's see. A heat shield. I don't need a heat shield at this low altitude. And given this thing. Let's see. What should be the name of this? I'm just gonna launch it, no naming. This is a throwaway ship designed for testing the limits of space tourism. They also want to pass out. And I mean, they also want to reach. Oh no! They also want to reach suborbital trajectory. I accidentally clicked space, so now these two parts are detached and the parachutes are active. Let's just hope that let's just hope that they don't come apart. This rocket is hanging on by hopes and prayers. Check that out. It didn't even reach suborbital trajectory. That sucks. We're gonna have to try this whole thing again. Well, at least they survived, you know? Hold on, let me revert to just the launch. And this time, I'm gonna put this there. I'm not clicking the space bar. My hands are off the keyboard. They're suborbital. Let's turn that altitude all the way up so that the parachute can jerk them to a stop really quick. So, you see, humans and Kerbals alike are not sensitive at all to going very fast. After all, we're traveling very fast on riding the Earth itself, which is traveling at extreme speeds. But we are very sensitive to change in velocity, which is otherwise known as acceleration. So, we are in suborbital trajectory, right? No? Still? Yeah, we're definitely suborbital, yeah. So, uh, you see, when our velocity changes very fast, like for example, when we suddenly slow down, uh, going at extreme speeds, like we're just about to. I don't need this antenna, I don't know why I put it here. Uh, going at extreme speeds and then suddenly snapping to a stop, that will pass people out, which is what we're about to do. It didn't work. Maybe, maybe. Ah, it didn't work. They weren't they weren't going fast enough. Okay, that's actually kind of a hard one. Let me think. I think I know what has to happen. I think what has to happen is they have to be almost in orbit, but not quite, so that they're approaching the atmosphere at a very shallow angle, right? And then, well, they'll need a heat shield for that. And then once they're approaching the atmosphere at such a shallow angle, it'll make them suddenly slow down a lot faster, right? That sounds logical, sensible, etc. Yeah, I made the parachute open way too early. This is gonna take a bit. I thought the parachute would, I don't know. I mean, have you ever been on a roller coaster? Kind of like that, except it's cooler because you're going into space. Oh, by the way, for the altimeter, there's two modes that it has. It's got sea level mode, where it shows you the distance from sea level you are, and it's got terrain mode, where it shows you the distance from the terrain you are. Terrain mode is more useful for things like landing. Fair enough, fair enough. But people pay good money for this. And so why not take full advantage of that with these tourist contracts? 20 meters to go. And bam. Why is there a circle of shadow? Oh, it's because the mod that I have that makes these cities, it makes them slightly above the terrain. So when I get really close to them, the city part disappears. It's like under the terrain or something. And so this is the texture that has the city, and this is the texture that's the ground. Recover. Does that fail the contract that now that we haven't sent them passing out, or does it let us try again? Okay, it lets us try again. We're gonna have to build a much better ship, and we're gonna have a real pilot in it so that we have better controls than this robot can offer. There it is. Gonna need two parachutes probably. There we go. We have two parachutes. And what we're gonna want to do, absolutely, we're gonna want a heat shield. And then, oops, instead of having that just straight on, gonna want, like, I don't know, two of these tanks here. And then fuel. And then we're not trying to get into orbit, we're just trying to get near. Did I put these on wonky? I did not. Hemi's shaker. Oops, I forgot the that's kind of important. Actually, I'm gonna want to turn this I'm gonna want to do this instead. Because we're gonna be going sideways. And they can also see out the windows better. Oh, it's gonna fall over. Why is it not flat? Anyway, that's not right. I got the staging all wrong. Okay, first, instead of the decouplers first. There we go. I don't know why the thing is laying down sideways, but nope, it almost crashed. Nothing we can really do about it. Oh, the wing is on wonky. That's a little bit of an issue. That's okay, I can just compensate for it. Want this to be over 70 kilometers? What blew up? Okay, it was nothing. True. They will pass out faster if they die in an explosion. That is a good point. I really do not need this much fuel. So I'll just drop it off. Oh, and now Jebediah Kerman leveled up, so now he can do special maneuvers like point backwards without me giving him any help. I forgot to put the tourists in! Oh well, this is a test flight. That's right. I straight up forgot to put the tourists into the ship. But also now we can get out of the ship in the middle of a mission. So isn't that quite nice? How do I turn on his flashlight? There we go. Check it out. I am so bad at everything. I straight up forgot the tourists. If he almost passes out, the tourist absolutely will pass out because he's a trained astronaut. He has more tolerance. I don't think he even got close to passing out. Are you serious? I'm at a loss. I don't know how to do this. Okay, I guess we'll skip it for now because I have no idea how to slow down any faster. Okay, never mind. I think I do. I think I've got it. I think I've got it. So what we're gonna want to do instead of hitting the atmosphere at a shallow angle, which apparently does the opposite of what I thought it would do, which makes sense because you're hitting the less thick parts of the atmosphere and you're gradually getting thicker. So why exactly are the fins on wonky? That one looks pretty straight on. These ones are definitely straight on, right? Okay, I'm putting the tourists in. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send the tourists straight up as far as I can without escaping Kerbin. And then I'm gonna send them straight back down so they have the most increased thickness of atmosphere as fast as they can. Right? That should work. And this is the last try. If I don't get this, we're skipping this. Oh no, I'm going a little bit out of control. If they want suborbital, they can get suborbital. Okay, let's not let anything blow up. Okay, nothing important blew up. Do not put on your seatbelts, guys. Seatbelts kill more people than they save, actually. Actually. Actually, seatbelts kill more people than they save. They don't, guys. Put on your seatbelts. But not you, tourists. As you can see, we do not offer safety equipment on this flight. There we go. 900 kilometers in the air. Is that enough for you? Is that enough for you? I think so. Let's, yes, they have seatbelts, as you can see. Hatch is blocked. Um, yeah, there's the seatbelt right there. Are there any props I can grab in here? No. Laundry, toothbrushes, tools, science, snacks, board games. Not food, food, more science, parts, air. They have a box full of air in here. As you can see, we are very high. Actually, I can take science here. From high in space. I should have put thermometer and stuff, although it probably would have blown up. How much electricity do we have left? Actually, a whole lot. Okay, surely this is enough to There's the G-force. Oh no! It was too much. They're all dead. Well, they sure did pass out. How's our reputation doing? We still have a good reputation. But unfortunately, Jebediah Kerman was killed in action. They all blew up. Every single one of them blew up. That's it for them. Hold on, let's warp to sunrise. It only took 1 day for a Kerbal to die. Oh, here. This is the Hammy's 2 debris. Is there any more debris around here? Let's go into the tracking station. Find some more debris. No more debris. Actually, there is some. Can cover that for sure. Better toasters toast, huh? What? I'll go ahead and say true, even though I don't exactly know what you're talking about. We need to afford. Okay, Valentina, there's no time for mourning. It's time for Hammy's 3. And Valentina, you're the one who's doing it. I think we need to abandon the Hammy's nomenclature and let's get us a new vessel better than ever seen before with safety features unlike any we have seen before as well. Um, what if we put a satellite into orbit? The Jab Jab. This will be our first permanent orbital body. Where was the science again? There it is. This will have an elliptical orbit that dips into high space. Here's all of the science equipment. We don't actually have any way to recharge anything, so we're gonna have to deal with we're gonna have to fit as many batteries as we can on this. Just like 8 batteries. Gonna need Gonna detach this. Gonna need like 2 of these. So we only need one of them. Let's go this one. Crust mount. The Jab Jab 1. And obviously we gotta have an antenna right there. And 2 of these. It'll be the same kind of launch vehicle as the Hamis too. I miss Jeb. He never lasts long. Oops, I put 2 of these. There we go. Now the doors are unobstructed. Now let's see if this functions at all. Or will it just blow up like the rest of them? Oh, it has 32 parts when it is only allowed 30 because of our subpar rocket construction area. So I guess no goo, no mystery goo. We'll just have these 30 parts. We are at the limit of the parts we can have. We really need more money. Oh yeah, I can't I can't actually steer this rocket. Now I can. Slightly. Not enough. No, no. It's gonna go out of control. It's going out of control. Okay, I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. With my insane piloting skills. Okay, we've reached a solid apoapsis. We're in the clear. Excuse me. Our rocket it might be spinning a little, but that's nothing we can't solve with a little bit of maneuvering once we get up there. There we go. Start burning this way. Not at a ton of speed. Actually, yeah. Let's just burn it. There we go. There's actually nothing for us there. Oh no. I cannot turn on SAS. Let's wait this out until we get right up here. And then we'll burn. Here we go. I have to manually adjust this rocket because it can't stabilize itself. That means I have to keep my eye on the nav ball. I'm gonna bring this. Oh, we're in orbit. I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna bring this apoapsis into high space. Might even do a Mun flyby, honestly. No, Mun flyby is a contract. I want the money from that later. So I'm gonna go to 1,000,000 meters. That's 1,000,000, yeah. And then I'm gonna time warp up there so that I can gather some nice science. How much electricity do we have left? Plenty. Can get 18 science from that, 12 science from that, and 8 science from that. Allow partial. Transmit all for sure. This is gonna absolutely hammer our electricity supplies. I think we have enough though. Yeah, we definitely have enough. Let's see if I can this won't transmit us any data, will it? I can try though. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to take a lot more contracts, I think. And we're just gonna have to like churn them out. We have our first permanent orbital vessel right there, and we have a bunch of science from it too. We're so poor in terms of science and in terms of money. I mean, we're not exactly poor. We almost have a million. We have a tenth of $1,000,000, but I don't know how we're gonna be able to come back from it though. I know how we're gonna be able to do science actually. We can make reusable vessels known colloquially as airplanes. And I'm gonna want to, what was it that I wanted to upgrade? Yeah, I wanted to upgrade this, but we do not have enough money to upgrade the assembly building. So let's see what kind of contracts we have. Fly by the Mun. That's something I can do. These want to orbit. These tourists. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Space tourism. It's a booming industry right now. And they don't care if we killed if we have a 100% fatality rate for tourists. They still want to pay us. Henceforth and thusly, I'm taking this tourist contract. And we can we'll get them to orbit Kerbin. I'm also gonna take some area observation contracts later. We have to abandon the Hame Shaker nomenclature though, because that will absolutely tank our that will tank our PR for sure. Because that's the one that kind of blew up. We'll just pretend we're a different space program that didn't blow everything up for now. However, we will be able to make a monetary comeback. I'm sure of it. So you see, since they're coming back from orbit this time, first of all, Valentina will have to be, yeah, and then the tourists can get in. Don't forget the tourists this time. Since we're making a comeback from orbit, it will be a lot slower. That is fair and true. So, hear me out. Put them all on rockets and, you know, don't let them wear seatbelts. Don't offer them any seatbelts. Do the same thing we just did earlier. Gonna want the final little boost rocket so they can get in there. And I need to sell out. Honestly, we need to sell out real hard right now because we are going to be poor. The horseshoe? Definitely. I'll put this one black. The color scheme can be kind of consistent too. Why not? Engines, definitely the swivel engine. And then I'm gonna put the boosters on this side like that. Perfect. And do not forget the wings. I'm gonna put these nice epic control surface wings so that we can control our rocket better mid-flight in the atmosphere. And that is the horseshoe. Are the tourists on board? Yes, they are. Can I add a self-destruct feature? I absolutely can. Once I am allowed more parts, I absolutely can get a self-destruct feature going. I can bind it to this abort key. Up, up, and away. I just have to kind of figure out how to do that. I can add like a little rocket that'll blow up, that'll heat up and blow up the parts or something. I don't know. Valentina, do not die on us. We cannot afford a new hire right now. I'm gonna need these wings. Get them in orbit, and then you get them back safely, please. I believe in us. We can do this. If we pull off this mission, we will go down from a 100% fatality rate to a 50% fatality rate. That is amazing. That is great for PR, let me tell you. Okay, let me wait up until in real life you wouldn't normally yeah, our main goal is to blow up and act like we don't know nobody. In real life, by the way, since the Earth is like, an order of magnitude bigger than Kerbin, uh, you would want to continue burning all the way to your apoapsis and beyond. Or if you're playing Kerbal Space Program, that's what you do if you have a particularly big rocket that is kind of difficult to maneuver around. You don't want to wait until apoapsis to start your orbital insertion burn. You're gonna want to keep burning even if it's at lower throttle than 100%. You're gonna want to keep going. And there we are in orbit. We have completed the contract parameters, and now we need to get back. Oh yeah, we've never. Oh yeah, because EVA reports just above space. They're biome specific. So if we're just above the shores, we have one EVA report, and if we're just above like the water, we have a different one. You see that? Just above the grasslands. Give me a second. I gotta do something funny and cool. What? Orbital camera. Where is she? Where is she? Ah, not by the windows anymore. There we go. There she is. Look at that. There's Valentina right out the window. Yeah, the getting back part is going to be the issue. By the way, Valentina only has limited fuel out here, but we have definitely enough to maneuver around the rocket a little bit, to have a little bit of fun. If Valentina gets stuck out here, we're not coming back. We gotta send a rescue mission. Oops. Okay. Now, to pull off a flawless getting back maneuver. Actually, let's orbit around and come back near the Space Center first. I think that above the desert mountains should be about the right time. Kerbals look like rip-off Legos. Fair enough. That is honestly true. If you don't if you notice if you look real close, they also have one eye bigger than the other, which is kind of cool. Give me a second. View. Look at him. This eye is bigger than this one. Oops. Have I missed the center? I have not missed the center. Okay, this time, last time we tried to bring the remaining fuel with us down. Last time our science experiments blew off, and we have something slightly more valuable than science experiments this time. So we're gonna need to you know, honestly, I'm putting my head in the wind because if Valentina dies, I really need these tourists to survive. If that means the command pod has to face the brunt of the impact, well, okay, it's actually kind of looking iffy. I should have put a heat shield on. Genuinely, I should have put a heat shield on or come back or come at a shallow angle. Okay, no, this is looking really bad actually. Okay, we're past the bad point. We're past the bad part. Hold your breath. We survived. We survived. We're through. That was close. If I had burned for just a little bit longer to deorbit, that would have been it. I'm gonna go back to auto camera. Oh, no, 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 no! Parachutes! The parachutes! We were going too fast and the parachutes didn't deploy because they couldn't. Parachutes couldn't deploy. It was going too fast for the parachutes to deploy. Okay, okay, okay. Do we want to revert this flight? Do we want to revert this flight and pretend this never happened? Or do we want to press on it for the lore reasons? Do we just want to be a sucky space program? Or do we want to revert this flight and pretend it never happened? Because we still have an option to revert the flight. Here we are. Revert to launch, revert to vehicle assembly. Or do we want to, because I know how to rescue that. I just have to come into the landing a little bit more shallow and then we're all. Yeah, that's true. For the lore, for the bit. R.I.P. Valentina Kerman. At least you're resting in the ocean and not in pieces scattered across the sky like Jeb. At least you're probably in one piece, even though you're dead. We have no more pilots. We're gonna need to hire a new pilot. Our reputation took a hit. We're gonna have to hire a new pilot. At least it doesn't cost as much as last time. We really do need to start being safer. Cathmore, you're on the team. Let's build an airplane. Let's build a nice, simple, relaxing airplane. We're so broke. We can do airplanes, right? Surely they can't be quite as complicated as rockets, right? Surely. And with only 30 parts, we're gonna want some fuel. Actually, you know what? We're gonna want instead of fuel being there, we're gonna want this there. And of course, we're gonna want a tail. This will be the main body of our plane right here. Gonna put a wheel on the bottom. And then we're gonna want to put these two wheels over here. And I'm gonna want to offset them a little bit. I'm gonna want to bring these down because they're not gonna hit the ground very well the way they are right now. The wider the wheels, the more stability we have. That looks pretty good. We're going to want to put our fuel right here. So you're going to want to put it a little bit higher than that. There we go. And our jet engines. And our air intakes. So you see the difference between that's the jet engine, isn't it? Yeah, that's the engine. So you see the difference between a plane and a rocket is actually quite a lot. There's a huge difference between a plane and a rocket. So you see, jet engines burn a kind of fuel that has no oxidizer in it. Yeah, we should switch to airplanes until we can make good rockets. How many parts does this have already? 14? We're halfway through our part count. jet engines, they burn a type of fuel that doesn't have an oxidizer in it, which means that it can't burn without external source of oxygen. That's why you have these air intakes right here, which take in air from the atmosphere, which is 70% nitrogen and around 20 or 14% oxygen, I think. It's either 20 or it's 14, something like that. And then that oxygen is mixed into the fuel and burned and released out the back of this jet, sending the fuel back at high speeds and giving it a lot of velocity, which is almost the same way as rocket works, except with external oxygen instead of internal oxygen. Now, the benefit of using external oxygen is that you don't have to carry it, which means that you can carry more fuel and get more bang for your buck. Also, jet engines, since they like push off the atmosphere or something, they heat up the air around them too. I think they're more efficient. They're tons more efficient than rocket engines, actually. That's all well and good, but this plane is a glorified car right now because it doesn't have any wings on it whatsoever. Here's the center of mass. Here's the aerodynamic center. It's down here because it's a null value, I think. So obviously we're gonna want to put wings on it. There's the center of lift. It's not the same as the rocket thing because it's going to be lifting upwards. You see? Little trick. This rocket would kind of spin out of control. So little trick you want to do is you want to slightly angle your wings. I'm gonna do that later actually. You want to slightly angle your wings upward into a kind of Y shape so that the lift is pointing up to this point instead of just straight up. It'll point diagonally up to this point, and it'll keep your airplane facing upwards. However, this airplane is completely uncontrollable right now. So we're going to want to put on control surfaces, which can be moved by the pilot. This one can be for lift, for pitch, and it can go as high as it can. This one can be for pitch and roll and have more of a like 15 degrees max angle. So you see, once you deploy this, if it's behind the center of mass, it'll go up. If it's in front of the center of mass, it'll go down. The air will come here. It'll hit this. It'll go up instead. The air will take a right angle, and that will push this ball down, and it will rotate around the center of mass, pushing the nose upwards. And the same with the other direction. You put it down, and it will go right angle, pushing this ball up and pushing the nose down. Now, unfortunately, this airplane will also spin completely out of control because, here we go, push that slightly upward like that, push a little bit more, because we want this to be above the center of mass so it can have more authority over it, basically. So this will spin out of control in this direction, in the horizontal direction, because there's nothing to stabilize it, which is why you put a tail fin on there. And the tail fin will prevent it from going side to side uncontrollably. And now we have a pretty darn decent airplane. Gonna want these to be around the same as the center of lift, I think. And you're going to want this to be not too far beyond the center of mass. So it'll look something like this. As for landing, I do not want another pilot to die. Cathmore is already in the pilot seat. I do not want another pilot to die, so I'm going to put parachutes on this thing, which isn't strictly necessary. How many parts do we have? 22 out of 30. The parachute isn't strictly necessary. 23 out of 30. However, you know, we really need to be a little bit safer. Okay, so we have a couple parts left over. Surely they are. You know, it's 1 in a million uh aircrafts plummet to their commercial aircrafts plummet to their death and fall and crash and burn and whatever. That's better than the 1 in 5,000 for cars. I'm gonna put a little communicator on there. Now we have 24 out of 30, so we can afford to put some science parts on there. Let's go. Temperature, barometer, and that's all. That's all I'm putting. Okay, what should we call this airplane? I'm bad at names. What should we call them? Looking pretty swell, if I do say so myself. How much science do we have? Can it show us here? I'm gonna delete all these messages. The ironclad? Sounds good to me. Surely this will take off. Right? Okay, actually, I'm gonna want, now that I thought about it, I'm gonna want to move these wheels a little bit closer in, a little bit beyond that, because this will push down, and then this will be the fulcrum that it levers off of. So this is gonna push down, this will be the fulcrum, and then it'll push up here. So actually, we're gonna want it to be pretty close to the center of lift, but so that it can get a bunch of mechanical advantage, but not too close to the center of mass because it might not work. But if we put it directly below the center of lift, it'll just push straight down on it and it won't push this up at all because there's nothing to rotate around. So we're using levers. And here we go. It'll work for sure. It'll work. The Ironclad 1 maiden flight. Let's uh let's head over to the island airfield and then land in the water because I am not confident in my landing skills. It'll take a second for these to spin up. Oops. Okay, give me a second. This is the run. I just realized that since these wheels are a little bit lower than this wheel, it'll be facing downwards and it'll be harder to get it off the ground. So I'm going to want to put these up a little bit. And I'll put this. So now you see these wheels are a little bit higher, and so we'll have a little bit of an easier time getting off the ground. I did that backwards in my head. Now you see it's well, you know, it's okay. Good enough. Terrain mode is almost always better for these planes. We've got this. I believe in us. We are almost achieving liftoff. The wheels off the ground. We're popping a wheelie. There's not enough lift. We've run out of runway. It's not enough. We're not dead. You died as the Ironclad character. Surely this isn't foreshadowing. Surely. Okay, so we didn't die. We just need bigger wings. That's doable. And the parachute saved us. Roll wings at the tip. And then pitch along the side. There's more pitch now, and there's also much bigger wings. Ironclad 2. Surely this is the run. This is the run. We've got this. It's over 30 parts. It has 38 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How much does it cost to upgrade the thing? Too much. Contracts can we take? I can take this because well let me finish that contract real quick. Our permanent orbiter will definitely be able to do that. Just a quick little contract finish. There we go, contract complete. We still won't have enough money to upgrade the thing, but at least we'll have some more money. Well, we're gonna need to remove 8 parts somehow. Don't need this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still need to remove 3 parts. 6, 7. There's no more useless parts in here. I guess 8 and 9. So we still have room for one more part. Why is this being weird? I hate putting control surfaces on wings because it's always just so weird. Oh, I know. It's because I rotated the wings. Okay, this is it. This is the one. It's too large. Now, its span is still too large at 17 out of 15 meters. What if I did this? $15.67, almost there. $15.02. And that's good. Heck yeah. Give me a second. Been live for 2 hours. Cool. 2 hours, two Kerbals dead. And tourists. This is it. This is the run. With this weird looking doohickey. This isn't gonna lift off. Who am I kidding? It lifted! We're off the ground at the last second. We are solidly in the air now. At the last second. I have no idea. I have no idea how this thing works. The goofy looking box wing. Heading towards the island runway. I'm not landing on the runway. I'm landing in the water. I'm gonna fly over the runway. And then I'm gonna land in the water. I wonder if we can even go supersonic. We're like actually getting close to the sound barrier with this thing too. We're genuinely like more than a third of the way to the speed of sound. No, we're not making it. We're plateauing. We're plateauing at around 2/3 of the way to the speed of sound. I have no idea, man. This doohickey looking thingy. It's going a third of the speed of sound. 2/3 of the speed of sound. There's the island airfield. I think it would be kind of safer to launch from the island airfield because we have water surrounding us on like all sides. Ooh, we're 60 meters per second away from the speed of sound. So if I fly really high and then do a steepish dive, it should work. Okay, so let me fly really high as I can. I'm gonna take a crew report flying over the water, and then I'm gonna also take a crew report splashed down. Gonna lose some energy to climb, and then I'm gonna gain a ton of energy going down. This thingamajig, this whatchamacallit. Ugh. It's going. We're breaking the sound barrier with this. I promise you, we're breaking the sound barrier. I had to squash its wings down to fit within the 15-meter wingspan limit of the runway. We're still climbing at a good 100 meters per second. So that must mean we're going to no, we're going like 20 degrees upward angle. Check out the beautiful sky. We're 5 kilometers high, almost 6 kilometers high. Once we start plateauing out, I'm gonna do a shallow dive to get us up to the speed of sound. And then we're gonna cut engines, glide as much as we can, and then parachute slowly and safely down into the water. I think we should start plateauing around 8 kilometers. Nope, we're going higher. There's the KSC far behind us on that little island. 8.3 kilometers. Now let's start diving. These wheels are still spinning. For real. Airplanes are just so unexpected. Take a dive, take a dive. Let's go fast, fast, fast. I think the less shallow we dive, the faster we'll gain speed. 2/3 of the way to the speed of sound. 3/4 to the way to the speed of sound. We're not making it. We're plateauing. Ooh, 3.4. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Okay, yeah, that's not working. We got 3,400 meters. We got so close. We got 20 meters per second away from the speed of sound about roundabout. Hold on, let me check that. Let me fact check. 343. No way. I think we broke the speed of sound. We went just over the speed of sound. We went supersonic for a brief moment before we had to pull up. That is amazing. Okay, that's enough. No more joyride. We're landing this thing. It could break the speed of sound. If you play your cards just right, it goes supersonic. This doohickey looking thing. And there we go. 9 meters per second. We're going to hit the water gently. And that concludes the maiden voyage of the Ironclad 2. The whatchamacallit that could. Cathmore, you are a good pilot. EVA report. Board the plane. And crew report. And we got a little bit of science. We have broken the speed of sound with whatchamacallit. Okay, surely we can fly by the mun with at least an unmanned rocket now. We don't have any. We gained funds from that somehow. I've never played Slay the Spire before, actually. but I'll take your word for it. There's no make observations at places. Okay, we're gonna fly by them on. Actually, we have a ship that's already in orbit so that we can already do that. I believe the engine that we have on will charge the batteries. It doesn't charge the batteries. I'm gonna turn this thing to hibernation mode. I can't make maneuver nodes. We're gonna burn prograde once we see the mun come over the horizon. There we are, burning. And we'll just see where this gravity assist takes us. It's not working. We have plenty of fuel to spare though. So I can keep burning like this until it works. Oops, I've escaped the orbit of Kerbin. There we go. Mun flyby achieved. We're gonna complete that contract. So as you can see, as we get closer to the mun, where it will be in the future, that's where it will be at the time of intersect, I think. Check that out. Oh, hold on, it's lagging. It does that whenever switching orbits. We are now technically kind of orbiting the mun. This is the thing that's exerting the most gravity on us at the moment. And we are back to Kerbin exerting the most gravity on us. Because we're just a little bit too far away from the mun. And there we go. Just like that, contract complete. We have flown by the mun. So I'm out of chips. So theoretically, we should have more money now. Yep, we have money. We have enough money to theoretically upgrade the VAB. But then again, we would be almost out of money if we did that. We would have like $4,000 left. Or 40,000. Can get more flight control, but we already have all that stuff. We already have enough stuff for that. Definitely need more science. Let's see what Okay, so we need to orbit the mun. Cash. Absolutely. We need to orbit the mun. We need to gather scientific data from the mun, and we need to return to Kerbin from orbit of the mun. And those don't all have to necessarily be in the same flight. So we could leave something in orbit of the mun, and then eventually when we're ready, we could return from the orbit of the mun. However, has this has this space agency ever been one to turn down a challenge? I don't think so. We're going to do all three of these contract parameters in one flight. And look, we have cash. That gave us a lot of cash to work with. What was the budget that it just gave us? It gave us a budget of 73,920. Let me write that down real quick because we're going to do this all without going over budget. We're gonna do this all without going over budget, and we're going to get a lot more money. We're gonna go under budget so that we have even more money to work with. So I promise you, we're going to build a ship that will fly us in orbit of the Mun and back to Kerbin, and we're gonna do it in well under $73,000. And then we're gonna get all of this money. So theoretically, if we use exactly our budget, give me a second, let me do some calculations. Give me 1 second, sorry. If we do all of this correctly, wait, give me 1 more second. I forgot the last part. If we exactly match our budget, we will gain $349,480. 349,480 if we match our budget exactly. And we're gonna go below budget. We're gonna double our cash. Just had to do all that math real quick. We're gonna send a human up there too. We're gonna send a Kerbal. That is exactly why I have ethics committee do not interact on my Discord. And this is such an important milestone ship that I'm gonna name it the Noita 1. And we're gonna gather a crew report from there and an EVA report, so we don't need any external science equipment. Because that also has the risk of being destroyed. And I could do all the complicated orbital calculations or whatever to do this, but I'm just gonna. It's exactly for stuff like this, just to be funny. For the bit. Half more. You're going to the Mun. Okay, this is the part that we want in orbit, right? We want this part in orbit so that we can send that part to the Mun. In that case, we're gonna want the swivel here. I don't even know why they offer us this the the Reliant engine when it's just almost exactly the same as the swivel, except the swivel can actually turn your ship as well. How's that in a vacuum? 600 meters per second? That's not good enough. Definitely need at least 1,000. That's 1,023 meters per second. 1,237 meters per second, I mean. And then we're gonna need probably 3 boosters this time. For 1,500, that's it. That's good. Okay. No, that's all right. This. Why is this oh, I didn't put even I didn't that's important to know. I should have put a decoupler there. Why did this okay. This goes there, this goes there. And then I need some wings. Probably need some controlling wings. And then since I'm gonna come straight from translunar injection. I mean, I'm gonna come straight from a lunar atmosphere braking. So I'm gonna also need a second smaller parachute, and that parachute will help me slow down. Okay, so theoretically, this can get us all the way to the Mun. And since it can get us all the way in orbit of the Mun, do you know what that means? That means I made a Mun rocket that can get us all the way to the Mun using 1/7 of the budget we were allotted. I am so good at this game. No testing, no practice runs. Let's just get straight into it and send a Kerbal all the way to the Mun. That's what our space agency is for. We are breaking the bounds of previously understood science. Our engineers are top tier, straight from Lockheed Martin. Ethics committee? Who heard of it? I believe in us. I'm locked in. Oh, we are at 75 kilometers apoapsis. No, I'm gonna need to get into the upper atmosphere before I try anything. I'm gonna prove you wrong. I swear it. I'm gonna prove you wrong. You see, the drogue chute can actually deploy much earlier than the other parachutes because it's not meant to slow you down to a crawl. It's meant to slow you down to a pace where the other parachutes can open, which would have been extremely helpful on that other tourist rocket. If I had put like one drogue chute on there, we would have survived that. Minor engineering error. We are in atmosphere. I mean, we're out of atmosphere. Do we even have enough thrust to get out of this or to get into orbit? We better. I swear, if we don't have enough thrust to even get into orbit. Okay. We have enough thrust to get into orbit. The question now is, do we have enough delta V to get all the way to the moon? The answer is probably, and that's good enough for me. Okay, we're gonna want to wait until it comes back over the horizon, right? Look at us, we're in orbit. We're halfway to anywhere. Oops. We haven't even seen the rest of the solar system yet either. This is just the start of something huge, isn't it? When the mun comes over the horizon, that's when we start our burn. Here it comes, over the horizon. Now you see, we will catch up to it. We'll catch up to the mun where it's going. We want that to be as low a number as it can for efficiency's sake. 59, that's good. Okay. We have at least reached orbit of the mun with the amount of fuel we have on us now. We're going to get a crew report. We're going to get an EVA report. We're going to get two crew reports, actually. Hold on, let me see. Is there a crew report? I'm still time warping. Crew report here. Yep, 7.5 science. EVA report. I'm proving you wrong as we speak. I believe in us. We're more than halfway there. Let me get out again. I'm gonna take the data. You can get a lot of science from this experience too. Just so you know, time warping stops all of your rotation, which isn't exactly realistic, but it's certainly helpful in some instances. There's a difference between physics time warp and non-physics time warp, though, because physics time warp is up to 4 times speed, and it's for like making your burns feel faster. Non-physics time warp can go up to like 10,000 times speed or something. We are high above the mun. Time to do our second round of science. EVA report, take data, and board. Gonna want to turn around. To make our job easier later. Gonna want to wait for the mun. We're very close to the surface. That's okay. That's what I meant to do. And I should have probably started the burn a little bit earlier than that. But we don't have to orbit. We don't have to orbit very close. We can just get somewhat of an orbit. We are orbiting the mun. EVA report just above the mun's midlands. Seat yourself. Crew report in space near the mun. And now that we have done that, we can probably best. We have 1,000 meters per second to spare, actually. We have 1,400 meters per second to spare. Now that we have orbited the mun, technically, we can get right out of it. And then we can do a little bit of a Hoffman transfer. Go all the way up to our apoapsis here and let that go down. No, there's no way this dinky little thing can land on the mun. And I'm gonna want to, as much as I can, as much delta V as I can spare, I want to use it to lower the apoapsis too, so that we're, so I'm gonna want to lower the periapsis to close to the atmosphere, and then I want to, lower the apoapsis as close as I can to Kerbin before running out of fuel. Of course, the periapsis has to hit the atmosphere in order to actually slow us down with aerobraking. So I want this to go to around 70 kilometers. I could have used the mun to slow us down, honestly. That would have been cool. Okay, so now if we hit the atmosphere now, we might probably just straight up die from from overheating. So I'm not gonna hit the atmosphere. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower the peri. Oh no, I missed it. We're gonna have to come back around. Uh, I'm gonna have to lower the apoapsis a lot closer to the planet so that when we hit the atmosphere, we're not going quite so fast, and then we won't burn down quite as much. We've spent 45 days in space so far. 47 days in space. Because as you can see, when we're coming closer to the atmosphere, we're speeding up to around like 3,000 meters per second, which is not good for landing. I will land on the mud eventually, don't worry. That will be the magnum opus of this stream, landing on the mud. Okay, now we're gonna want to turn around and start burning the other direction so that we can slow down as much as possible before re-entering the atmosphere. Like right now, we're probably not gonna not gonna die of it. I'm gonna want to enter at a really shallow angle just to be absolutely safe. Time really is a wobbly line, yeah. Well, I've also been time warping like crazy. And I missed in orbit, so we spent like a good extra 5 days up here just waiting to come back around. Okay. Now I'm gonna want to slow us back down to a shallow entry of the atmosphere. 40 kilometers, that's pretty good. And then, finally, I'm going to want to ditch that. To face our backs into the atmosphere, I mean, so that the heat shield will continue protecting us, as you can see. Our apoapsis should dip below 70, because that is going to dip to the ground. Here we are, making plasma out of the air. We're definitely hitting the ground now. Yeah, we absolutely are. We're still going at 2,000 meters per second, which isn't amazing. But we are rapidly slowing down. The thicker the atmosphere gets, the faster we slow down. Your connection is bad. Dang, that does suck. There's the crater lake. And we are slowed down. We have guaranteed touchdown. Bringing this vessel back to the surface of Kerbin. We landing just beside this ocean. See the drogue parachute is working its magic, making the other parachute safe to deploy. And the other parachute is coming out. There we go. 6 meters per second. We're going to cut the drogue chute off. Yes, I know what I'm doing. We're still at 6 meters per second because the drogue chute was doing basically nothing. And we have absolutely 100% guaranteed safe touchdown. As such, I'm going to, actually, I'm going to go EBA again. Going EBA in the middle of parachuting down. That is correct. Gonna do a crew report here. Flying over the shores, nothing. And we have touched safely down onto the ground. We can breathe the oxygen, and we can plant our flag. We looked at the mun for a while, but more than that, we looked at the mun for a while up close. And now we have a bunch more funds and we have a bunch more science. We are no longer poor, and that is amazing. We're gonna have like what, $600,000 at this point? $800,000 at this point, and 186 science. We got 600 funds back, and this Kerbal has advanced to the next level. We still have a kind of poor reputation, but that was a huge PR boost, I will say. We can absolutely upgrade this now because now we can have up to 255 parts. I'm gonna spend some money to upgrade the mission control as well. Upgrade this so that we don't have to have weird squashed wings anymore. We cannot upgrade the tracking station. Um, what else? Uh, maybe the contract? No. No, I definitely want to be able to take more contracts. And flight planning, so that's maneuver nodes. That's actually really good. We're not rich anymore, but we have a lot of assets. Rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit of Kerbin. Scientific data from space around the Mun. Sure, why not? These tourists want to orbit the Mun. Are we still getting tourist contracts after all this? Plant flag on the Mun, absolutely we will. So we're gonna want to do the rendezvous for sure. I'm gonna teach you something new about spaceflight once again. We're gonna want this space exploration thing, I think. No, we're gonna want miniaturization because that is another science equipment. And gonna want maybe advanced construction. I don't know. Which one has the docking port? Landing, maybe? Ooh, I kind of want electricity though. Okay, we can afford one more of these things. I really want the docking port, but I don't know. Yeah, the docking port is a couple things down. We got a lot of money from those contracts. A lot of money from accepting those contracts. Okay. I think we're gonna want electrics. It might be actually we might want landing so that we can actually land on the Mun. That might be very nice to do. Maybe advanced construction though, because that has adapters. Fuel systems, perhaps. Propulsion systems. Propulsion systems is very good for Mun landing and heavy rocketry. I think we definitely are gonna either want propulsion systems or landing. And I believe we can theoretically land without landing legs, but it's just a little bit less convenient. So I think propulsion is in our best interest right now. I'm taking that, I think. Yeah, that'll get us a good landing module. Okay, so now we're gonna want to do some of these contracts. Science data from around the Mun. I should have taken some science data on the thing and saved it for in case that happened. Okay, we want to plant a flag on the Mun for sure. And we absolutely want to rendezvous two vessels in orbit of Kerbin. We got 11,000 to work with, which we will definitely have to go a little bit over budget to create two vessels that orbit Kerbin. Uh, it's okay. And we're gonna want to bring our new science equipment up there too. It's enough cash. Yeah, we have enough cash to build two orbital vessels for sure. So I think I'm gonna repurpose the Noita one. How many Hemis are we on? Do we have Hemis 3 yet? We don't. So this is gonna be Hemis 3. Gonna want this here. We're gonna pull off a bit of a stunt here, I think. No, we're not. No, 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 no stunts, please. Do we have any like SAS control, command and control? We have nothing. So we're gonna have to do it all on rockets. Okay. Definitely. Oh, look, that one rocket uses up all of our budget right there. So we're gonna want to just do two of these instead. All right. I'll see you later, Straight Jacket. I will actually. You know what? I might in stream soon. So I wanna. When I first land on the Mun, I want you to be here to witness my insanity. I'm gonna do the rendezvous though. Gonna put that on there, and then also a parachute. We won't need a heat shield for coming such back from such a low orbit, but I'm gonna put one on anyway because I know for a fact I'm not gonna make it. I think we might want to hire another pilot for this. This one ship is also going to use up all of our budget, so we're going to use double the budget. But we are going to get a lot of money back anyway. Hudnard, you're hired. That might have been a hit on our budget. It was kind of a hit on our budget. Hudnard, you're up. We're going to want some science equipment here, right? So, yeah. You don't need a parachute, right, Hudnard? You're all good with that loadout? Hudnard, you're going in orbit. Okay, I think that should be all right. Yep. Hobbies 3 version 1. Hobbies 3B is next. I should rename this vessel. Hobbies 3A. Rename vessel. Hobbies 3A. Practicing for our Mun orbit. Mun mission. Which we're gonna do Apollo style. That's not good. That's actually rather bad, in fact. Okay, it's okay. We're actually all good over here after that initial spin out. And this design will have definitely enough fuel to do the rendezvous maneuver as well. How many minutes have I been streaming for? Almost 3 hours. That's about how I normally do. All right, this rendezvous will be the last action of the stream, I believe. Is Noita 1 debris in orbit? It sure isn't, actually. It's almost in orbit. I value efficiency in this mission because I can't exactly carry another Kerbal on the ship, so yeah. Okay. I'm about to teach all of you viewers how to rendezvous a vessel. Okay, so let's launch an exact copy of the same vessel here, right? Give me a second, I need to check something. We're gonna launch an exact copy of the same vessel we just did, right? The Hermes 3 with Cathmore on it instead. Cathmore is an ace pilot, so she'll be able to handle this. An ace pilot being she went to the Mun and didn't die. Near the Mun and didn't die. For a brief instant. She just got into a stable orbit and then immediately got out of it. Not even one revolution around. Okay, so we're gonna wait, right? Until this guy comes all the way around. To around here, I guess. And then we're gonna try and get into almost exactly the same orbit as he is. That's the first step. Probably. Oh no, we're spinning out. We're gonna want to burn a little bit this way. You're gonna want to first get almost into the same orbit. Set as target. There we go. You see that? Already we're seeing the how high are we right now? 46. Kind of upper atmosphere kind of vibes, you know what I'm saying? We'll be here and he'll be here. So what we're gonna want to do then is we're gonna want to burn, get into the almost kind of the same orbit. We want these markers to be as close together as physically possible. So we want that separation to be real low. Give me a second. Let me get to the apopapsis real quick. We're still going faster than him. We're still gonna be here while he's here. Oh, we're actually slowing down relative to him still. So that separation is gonna only grow. That's fine. We just for now we want to get into the same orbit. Oh, look, it's shrinking. 8 kilometers. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, that's the closest we'll get. That's the closest approach. We are in orbit, which is good. So we're gonna want to be around here. Time warp there. I am so glad we upgraded the thing so we can do maneuver planning. And then we're gonna want to cancel our relative velocity. So we're gonna want to burn target retrograde until this hits 0 meters per second. Where is he? There he is. Oh, actually, that's the wrong way. This is... Oh, no, this is the target retrograde. That's away from the target, that's towards the target. So since we're in target mode, this retrograde icon will show our relative speed to him. So we want to go at 0 meters per second relative to him. And then, since we're just a little bit further away, we're going to want to align this prograde, which is towards him, uh, to him, and then speed up a little bit, right? And that will get our, will be 0.2 kilometers. If we keep going, we'll be absolutely 0 kilometers away from him. 2.2 kilometer 0.2 kilometers is pretty good, I think. So we're going to want it to wait until we're very close. Now we're heading directly towards him in our orbit. The Hemis 3. The Hemis 3A. I want to rename this Hemis 3B. Accept. That's our 0.2 kilometers that we are right now. 17, blah, 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 and 0. Now, obviously, we're still going slightly away from him. We're still slightly, but now that we're so close, we can just keep continuously doing minor adjustments. You'll see it'll say 0.0 kilometers now because we are in visual distance. We have rendezvoused 2 vessels. And that is how you rendezvous a vessel. Congratulations, you're smart now. We're gonna want to get now how to dock a vessel without any without any control burners, control little rocket things. SAS. Without doing any of that, what you can do is you can face towards your target, right? Do slight burn. And then you can get your other target to target you, first of all, to target your docking port, and then also face right towards you. You're going to want to come probably less than 1 meter per second directly towards that. You're going to want to target the docking port, not the ship itself. You're going to want to face directly there. And you're going to want to watch as they slowly drift together. And you're going to want to continue to face exactly the direction that their docking port is. And then connect. That was flawless, actually. Now, these 2 vessels are made one in orbit. And now you can undock and get out of here. Now that we have rendezvoused and we have connected, that is good practice. I'm going to land as close as I can to the thingy, to the space center. And then we are also pretty far away from the other vessel. Where to go? I don't even know where it went. There it is, 200 meters away from us. And now it will be a lot more because we are deorbiting. Why did the decoupler not work? Interesting. The parachute should be armed, right? Yep. We're gonna deorbit that second vessel in the second orbit round. Huh. In real life, that would take a little bit over 1 hour to do. I think it probably takes like, what, 15 minutes to get into orbit or something in real life? And then would take probably a little bit more than an hour because they would be a lot more careful and limit their speed a lot more. There's the KSC. We're absolutely landing safety. It would be quite a shame if he were to die on his first flight, right? Right? Hudnard. You're not Jeb. There we are. Now to do orbit the second vessel, and then I have to clock out. That actually gave us quite a bit of funding. Okay, let me deorbit the second one. We're not poor, that's for sure. I rendezvoused. Yes, I did in fact rendezvous the crafts together. I'm gonna deorbit this last craft, and then that'll be the end of the stream. I will have to, in fact, clock out. These two vessels, I orbited them, and then I used their docking ports to dock them together. I rendezvoused them, and then I used their docking ports to dock them together. The procedure I basically used is I had them enter the same orbit and then cancel their relative velocity and slowly drift towards each other. This is a good exit. You know what? I'm gonna burn off the rest of the velocity I can just to make it a little bit easier on the parachute. Just in case. Pathmore is probably my most valuable asset right now. Docking kind of messes with the staging too. It kind of makes it a little bit more wonky. See that? That was even barely a hiss of air around us. And here we go, land right in the middle of a populated area, on top of a building maybe, on top of whatever building this is, right here. And then we're all good. That was fine. It's all fine. I'm sure nobody died from that. Cathmore and whatever the other guy's name is. They're all safe and well. Absolutely. A win for our space program. All right. Ugh. Actually, my goal for this stream was to fully land on the mun, but I think I'm getting pretty tired to be honest. Only two Kerbals dead in 3 hours. Two Kerbals dead in 52 days. That is a great record we have. Oops. I'm getting pretty tired. However, are you gonna be? How long are you gonna? How long are you able to be here? Because might as well fulfill the goal of the stream if you're gonna be here for it. Transfer any crew between vessels. Oh, come on. Okay, I'm gonna have to do more stuff next stream, I guess. Because I need to complete this contract first, because we need some MUN contracts to unlock. So I'm gonna complete this contract and then go and then land on the MUN next stream, which will be next week. Yeah, true. With a clear mind, fresh new day, fresh new reputation. I'm gonna take this contract though, so I can remember to do it next time. Got a couple other contracts that we can do. If I added the plant flag on the mun, the this money and also whatever we get from the land on the mun contracts, then that will be our budget for the mun lander. Because we can use that one mun lander to do all of the contracts we have for that. We can now rescue uh people from orbit. So actually we can build rescue vessels, which of course who wouldn't trust us to rescue a Kerbal from orbit, right? And in that case, so we can then complete the transfer crew between vessels. We can get a new crew member without any money. We can get a new crew member and we can gain money from it by completing this contract. So I know you wouldn't. And you have good instincts. So yeah, can rescue this guy, Ronmi, and hope he has a good job. He can either be scientist, engineer, or pilot. We're hoping for pilots right now. Here's his wreckage right here. It's in a pretty low orbit, so we can rendezvous a nice little rescue vessel. That's in a pretty good orbit I can do that for sure. Build him a nice little rescue vessel, and you know, save him, bring him back downstairs. How did he get there? It was probably some other space agency. You know, we're not the only ones doing it, but we are the most ballsy. Here's some debris from a previous flight, the Noita 1. Still got a little bit of fuel in it. But I'm gonna let it blow itself up from heat. This is the fun part, letting all your debris back into the atmosphere and watching it burn to death. This has no crew on it, so we can safely watch it burn. So some other space agency, they're not as good as us, you see, and they left one of their Kerbals in orbit. So we can just straight up kidnap him right out of orbit, and they'll pay us for it. And then he'll join our space agency, and we'll have more money. It's a win-win. They get their Kerbal rescued, and we get money and a pilot. Or an engineer or a scientist, you know. There it goes, burning to death. He will probably end up dead in our agency, that's for sure. But you know what? They won't care anymore. It won't be their issue because he's our pilot now. It's gonna crash down in the middle of like a wasteland. It's not even a populated area. Some forest somewhere, I guess. Let's watch it smack into the ground at 200 meters per second. Epic. Perfect. All right. I think that will conclude this first stream. Our first month being a space program is going pretty well. Only two dead. Mun explored. We're gonna get to the Mun first, you see, and we're gonna absolutely dominate everything. Also this guy. We could do we could do more tourists. This guy only wants to orbit Kerbin, so that's good. I can't do the high G adventures. I have absolutely no idea how to do those. Fly by the Mun. I don't want to take another contract because then my contracts will be full. If it's still available when I finish some contracts later, I'll do it. Could upgrade the launch pad right now. I think it would be wise to upgrade the launch pad, to be honest, and then complete the contracts later. But we'll figure all that out with a fresh head later, whenever we do this next stream. For now, yeah, we can sue them for making him mentally unstable and therefore crashing our ship. We can get even more money. Now you're thinking along the right lines. All right, for now though, that will conclude our first month as a space program, and that will conclude this stream. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you again very soon. See ya, goodbye.